Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and apologize for this. I had a really good DIY video done on these on how I modified them, but all that was put on a corrupt card, so I lost all that footage. So this is what I have. This is my end product, my end result. So I'm going to kind of go through this and explain to you guys what I did. So these are the climbers that I picked up off the forum. They can be found on Amazon for around 70 bucks. I'm going to set that one aside and we're just going to look at one of them. So when I got these, I tested them out. They worked relatively well, but they had a lot of flaws to them. So I went through and I basically addressed all the flaws. One of them is when you get them, they're very loud because there's no, this just slides through here, and the only thing that was holding it on was a small bolt back here at the back. So there was no adjustability. They slid freely, and obviously you can hear they made quite a bit of noise. So what I did, I'll flip this over to the top. What I did was I simply drilled a hole in this, welded a 5/16 nut on here, and then simply got a piece of plastic hardware 5/16 to where I can slide this on. Once this is on, it allows me to give it adjustability. So now I can lock this down tight. You can hear there's no noise to this whatsoever, as well as this gives me the ability to lock in for what tree size I need. So as I'm going up the tree with these climbers, if I need to shorten for a tree diameter, I can simply reach over, unlock this, slide it smaller, tighten it back, no noise again. Same thing for loosening. As I'm going down the tree, I can loosen this, and then I can slide and get to a bigger tree diameter, very similar to a climbing tree stand. Back here on the back, there was just a simple small nut and bolt back here. The hardware on this was very crappy and was already bent coming from them. So I just replaced this with a simple pin. And the reason behind this is that if I want to pack these up where I can put them in a backpack, now I can completely slide this down, and I have a very small piece that I can pack in the backpack. I would have two of them, obviously, but with having a pin in there, I can remove this in the woods, and that way I don't have to worry about trying to unbolt this in the woods if I need to pack this down for some reason. The other big thing with these was the strap that they sent was just crappy. It was one small strap. You had to like slide your foot in and force your foot in. Well, as you started climbing, that worked. Your foot worked its way out pretty quickly. So what I did is I put a different type of strap on here. This is just an old leftover trail camera tree strap. And what I did was I made this where it was sewn on the inside of my foot. I just folded these two pieces of webbings together, run a couple hand stitches right here. And what this allows is this allows a place for my heel. My heel would actually go back here in the back, and then this will fold over and go over my toe. So let me thread this through so I can give you guys a better idea here. And this is the reason why I sewed it, so that when I pull this buckle will always land on the top of my foot. Versus if I didn't sew this, sometimes this buckle would be all the way on the outside and be really hard to cinch this down. So what I've done here is exactly this. My heel of my boot would be right here. Center this up for you guys a little bit better. Heel of my boot would be in the back. This would go over my toe, and then I would cinch this down. And what this does is it keeps it from sliding on my foot whatsoever. And then the third thing is this little cleat right here on the inside. They had a very crappy hardware right here, just a cheap nut and bolt. Again, they were bent after like one or two times of using these. And then this cleat right here moved very freely, so it made a lot of noise. So what I did is I kind of tightened that down with this nut and bolt so that these don't move very well. I'll probably end up loosening these up a little bit so I get just a little bit of movement out of these, because these help adjust for the tree size that you're using. I also, for the use of my saddle, I tied these together with a simple piece of paracord and a carabiner. And what I do is when I go to climb with these, I'll actually take this and I'll clip it basically right underneath me where my two leg straps come from. And then that way, if one of these was to fall off my foot, I still have them tethered to me and together. So if one was to fall off, I can pull it back up and put it back on, no problems. I tested these out on a couple trees. You can navigate a few limbs with them. If the limbs are really there's a lot of limbs and they're really close together, it's a little bit difficult. But if you just have a tree that might have one or two limbs to get to, 18 to 20 feet, they're pretty easy to navigate. I actually did the comparison race, which you'll see here shortly, between these and my muddy sticks on a straight tree with no limbs. Here's the comparison race between the muddy sticks on the left that I've been using since 2009 and the new climbers that I've only been using for a few days on the right. This video is played in 2 times the speed. So you'll notice with the muddy sticks, I get up off the ground much quicker to the second stick. While it takes me a little bit longer with the climbers, once I get started, I can climb smoothly up to about 15 feet. Once I get to 15 feet, you'll actually see me stop and adjust the climbers for the size of the tree and then continue up to 18 feet. It only takes me 1 minute and 50 seconds to climb to 18 feet with the climbers, whereas with the muddy sticks, it takes me a little bit longer, right at 2 minutes, to climb 17.5 feet due to stick spacing. The biggest question for me was how I was going to transition from these climbers to my platform. So after a little bit of practice, this was the method that I settled on. I was actually going to step above the platform with my climbers, then remove the climbers and step down onto my platform. Coming down would be the same process but in reverse. I would put one climber on above the platform, then I would actually step below the platform with that climber, and then I would put the second climber on again above the platform, and then I would begin descending the tree to remove my platform. I wanted to wrap this video up by talking about some of the specs that I didn't talk about in the first part of the video, as well as some of the mods I've done since the video. Obviously, the first one I'm going to get is weight. One of these weighs 3 pounds 6 ounces, so the set weighs 6 pounds 12 ounces, so just shy of 7 pounds. You start comparing that to some climbing sticks, you're a little heavy, not too bad. Obviously, there's benefits and downfalls to both in certain situations where they're going to work better than others. The tree diameter. So what size tree will these work on? These in the smallest setting will work on an 8-inch tree diameter. Up to the largest setting, it would work on a 15-inch tree diameter. So for someone like me who tends to like smaller trees and gravitate towards smaller trees, these fit that tree size that I really like. So for me, that's a plus, obviously. So some of the mods I've done since the video, I've added some stealth strips to parts of these. And the reason why is when you're climbing, the climber section will basically be on the back side of the tree like this. So when you go to climb, you're kind of prone to bumping into the one that all your weight is on. So if all my weight's on this one, I bring this one up, trying to get it above there, you might bump into this. It's on the back side. So I added some stealth strips to that, just kind of reduce on that noise compared to, metal on metal is a lot louder. I also added some on here, just had some extra left over, really doesn't serve a purpose. But the other place where I've added it for a purpose was on this small cleat down here. So I lined the inside and the outside of it. And this was because when this cleat pivots, it will actually come in contact with the platform that your foot is strapped to. And I just wanted to reduce any type of noise that might occur from that. These aren't completely silent. Obviously, they're large pieces of metal. But by doing this, adding the adjustment, instead of letting them slide freely, I've really reduced on a lot of the noise. So the other thing that I'm going to look into changing is my paracord. I'm going to swap my paracord out for an elastic style cord. The reason behind this is with this length of paracord that I have now, if I really stride my steps, specifically coming down, I can feel this kind of pulling down on my saddle, meaning that I'm extending beyond the full length of my paracord here. Yes, I could just lengthen my paracord, but the problem I see with just lengthening my paracord is it gives me more cord to get tangled up in a tree limb, maybe to get pinched between the cleat and the tree. So I'm going to go to an elastic style cord because that's going to allow me to just have a shorter cord length overall, but allow me to stretch when I really need to stretch down or up with these. So I think overall that's going to be a benefit. We'll see. So like I said, I'm going to swap out for that. The one thing I'm just going to always keep in mind and look for is a better foot system. I'd like something that's got an enclosed toe box that I could slide my foot in and then cinch my foot into that. Don't really know how much more work I'm going to want to put into these or what I'm going to want to do to them. For the $70 for what they are, I think they're a really good option. They're a really good thing for people to have. To me, where I really see the benefit of these is presetting trees. So if I have to climb a tree to preset it, put my steps in, something like that, I feel really secure once I'm on a tree with my lineman's belt and these on. And the benefit to me is I can work around a tree. So say I had to cut a limb on the backside of a tree, typically you would just kind of stick your arm around and try and cut that limb. With these, I can simply work basically 360 degrees around that tree. So I'm not having to work behind the tree. I can have that tree limb right where I need to prep trees. So I think that's a really good plus of them. The two things that I still really need to work out is how I'm going to carry these in and out of the woods. I've got an idea for that. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some type of bracket that these would snap into, strap onto, something like that, that would keep them spaced apart so that walking in they don't try to bang into each other. And then use a simple carry strap around here to sling them over or under your shoulder, basically, to carry them in. And then when I'm hunting, what am I going to do with them when I'm hunting? So kind of my thought was that is if I make a bracket where they can snap together, you know, snap them together once I transition to my platform, hang them up, you know, take a long piece of paracord, drop them 4 feet below me and hang them there. So that's something I'm still trying to work out. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do that yet. I've tested some things. I'm still kind of trying to work that out. But hopefully, you know, you guys enjoyed this video, showed these as a viable option. You know, hopefully you like it. If you do, hit the like button below. If you like my content, my channel, hit the subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks, guys.